Hey everyone and welcome to our channel. If you're working with Jira, you've probably heard about the Structure app by Tempo. Well, in this video we're going to break down everything you need to know if you want to master this powerful plugin. We're going to cover what Structure is, why is it important for project management, and walk you through a complete example of how to build one from scratch. Let's get started. So, what is Structure? At its core, Structure is an organizational backbone for your Jira projects. Think of it like a customizable spreadsheet or a dynamic outline that lives right inside of Jira. Instead of just seeing a flat list of issues, Structure lets you build a hierarchical view of all your work. But that's not all. It organizes all your issues like epics, stories, tasks into a logical, easy to follow system. It's the ultimate tool for visualizing, tracking and managing complex projects without ever leaving Jira. So why is Structure so important? You can instantly see how all your different work items and tasks connect to a larger epic or a program goal. And yes, you can go beyond the epic level in Structure without Jira Premium. This is crucial for keeping your team aligned and focused. Second, it saves you time. With a solid Structure, you can manage hundreds of issues at once. You can quickly track progress, update fields, and even perform bulk actions or do calculations for your fields. All in one place, which means no more endless clicking through individual tasks. And finally, it helps you plan and report. Structure provides powerful aggregation features. You get real-time metrics like the total story points for an epic or time spent on a feature, giving you the data you need for effective planning and reporting. So how to set up your first Structure? Let's build your first Structure together. It's super simple and you'll be up and running in just a few minutes. I've already installed Structure, so I'll skip this step, but it's super easy and you just need to download it from the Atlassian's marketplace. When you open Structure, you'll see this screen telling you to get started with Structure by Tempo and a button to create a new Structure. So let's hit it. There are two modes available, the speed mode and the power mode. If you're just getting started, I do recommend that you use the speed mode. However, once you understand how Structure works, power mode allows you to do more things and customize the Structure to your needs. So let's click on the continue in speed mode and let's select a project. I already created a project with some sample data and I called it Genius Gecko. So let me select it. You can add multiple projects if you want to create a portfolio view or a program based on several projects in your Jira. Just select multiple projects and it's easy as that. I will work with a single project for now and hit continue. Now on the next screen, you are required to choose the work items and grouping you want to see. So Structure allows you to define the scope and asks you whether you want to group it in one way or another. So we do have the project as the selected filter and we want to have epics or all the work items, in that case stories that belong to an epic, nested under the correct epic and they are referred to as child issues. So my Structure is okay. I can add additional levels here. I can select the work item, right? I can use, for example, different dependencies or links and make Structure create a parent-child relation based on that link. This is the list of links, or you can use the child issues link. This is a native Jira link that is used to define the Structure within Jira, which is limited if you have the standard version of Jira. For example, you cannot create levels above the epic level, in which case, if you want to do that, you would need Jira Premium. And I will leave it as it is and we will try to modify it later. Then you can select which work items you want to nest under, in that case, the story. So I will maybe add a task and hit continue. Now, the next step is really simple. Just select the name of your Structure. So I will call it Genius Gecko Structure. You can add a brief description and decide with whom do you want to share it, right? So you can share it with everyone with selected users, with groups of users, and using Jira roles. So I will share it with everyone and hit create. So that's it. We have all the steps, and now Structure will generate a hierarchical view of all my work items. So let's have a look. And I do have some work items without the parents. So it seems that within my sample data, I did not create any epics. Well, too bad. Maybe during the import, I did not select an option to create an epic, as I was importing these issues from a file. So let me fix that and I will be right back. So in the meantime, I did convert one of my work items into an epic and linked a story to this epic using the epic link. And as you can see, Structure is already showing me exactly that on the screen. So let me zoom in a little bit, and we have the epic and a story right beneath the epic. Now let's have a look at this interface. So in the side panel, you have the list of all the apps within the Tempo suite. And there are other interesting apps, and we'll probably do another video exploring all the latest features of these different apps. There's the strategic roadmaps, timesheets, capacity planner, financial manager, portfolio manager, and custom charts. And you can also search for created structure. I only have one single structure, so there's not really much to search for. And there's the create button, which will redirect you to the screen that we already discussed. And the list of all the structures where I again have only one structure. Now if we go back to our structure, you can customize the views here, right? So you have this couple of buttons right here. You can start with the modifying the structure, which basically means that we'll be again back to the screen where we can define the hierarchy levels and change the scope or apply a filter, because Structure needs to pull in data from Jira, and there are different ways to do that. You can do it by selecting the issue types you want to include in your structure, use the statuses or components, or add remove fields to that list to narrow the scope of your structure. If you're fluent with JQL, you can also enter a JQL query and pull in any custom list of issue types. Alright, now let's hit cancel. We don't need it for now. You'll have the search button here. So for example, if you want to search for a operations task, you'll see that it's you need to be careful here because it has to be the exact name. Now it filters the list and only shows you the results here. You can use the text search or a JQL search. So I do really like the JQL search. Again, if you're fluent with JQL, I'm sure you'll love this feature. If you're not fluent, Structure will help you with that. And you can just start typing, select the different fields based on which you can create such a query. And for example, we want to search for epics only, right? So as you can see, you have a list here, select the epic, and again, we have our epic visible on the list, and we can work with that. Now, there's also the filter group option. Let me close the filter, we don't need it for now. There's also the filter group, but before I start filtering and grouping, let's work with the data a little bit, right? So I told you that you can edit, you can aggregate the data. So how can we do that? Well, first of all, right now we only have 3 columns, so our selection is quite limited here. What I can do here is click on the view button here, and there are several views predefined for us. So we're starting with the basic, and that's great, but let's select the entry, for example. And here you will see that more fields appeared as columns. For example, I can add a description or the original estimate and so on and so forth. Let's go to another one. Let's go to planning. If I double click here, I can start assigning work to myself or to my colleagues. So let's do that. Let's assign some tasks to Anna. Okay, and the story to myself here. And the epic also to myself. And maybe one more task to Chris. Alright, now that we have some work assigned, we can start using the filter or group options here. So filters are pretty straightforward and they work in a very similar way as in Jira. You can, for example, filter out all the work that is assigned to me, so all the tasks, all the work items that I have just assigned to myself. I can switch off or edit the filter. So as you can see, each filter is saved as a JQL query, and you have some additional options here. Keep non-work items and show all sub items of matching items. And that's actually quite an interesting one, because often you are looking for an epic and you're actually interested in all the stories that belong to that epic. So without this checkbox, the results will only show the epic, but with that enabled, you can actually see all the levels below the epic. So let's close it for now and switch it off, because there's another interesting feature here called grouping, and grouping is a very powerful feature. So let's group by assignee. Right now, as you can see, structure did group all the tasks on the first level, but these tasks here are on the second level here, right? So if you expand it, they are showing on a second level and they were not included when grouping. So to fix that, all you need to do is go to the edit options of the group and select the right level within this box right here, group on level. So let's select the second level, and now when we update, you will see that on the second level everything is grouped as well. So right now I have the work items without a parent also grouped by assignee. As simple as that. Alright, so now that we know how to group, we know how to create a hierarchy, let's have a look at the view options. So here there is one thing that you will need to resolve if you just installed the app. So I will walk you through that. And let's go to the tracking maybe. Let's select the tracking. So first of all, there's this plus button right here, and you can start adding different type of fields, and there are plenty of fields available here, including the progress formulas. So there's the new progress by status, in story points, in time tracking, and so on and so forth. There are the formulas fields like doing, linked to work items, weighted shortest job first, bugs fix count, last comment, open blockers, all sorts of formulas, and you can actually create your own formulas as well. You will need a little bit of knowledge to do that, so it's not that easy even with tutorials, but don't worry, if you have any special needs you can always reach out to us. We've created several custom formulas for our customers. I will not go through all these fields. In general, there are the number type of fields, text, dates, timing status, test runs, and other structure fields such as count, leave, sub items, and so on and so forth. I won't be diving into that, but you get the idea. And one thing that you might have some trouble with resolving is that once I try to actually set the dates, let's set the due date, that works fine. But when I start to do that with original estimate, let's say it's gonna take this task, it's going to take us 4 days. You will notice that there is this error that appears right here, indicated with this small triangle in the top left corner. And it tells me I cannot edit estimate for this work item. So when I click learn more, you will notice that this field is not added to the screen. So you need to make sure that all the fields that you are using in structure are added to your issue screens within your Jira. If you're not a Jira admin, you need to be a project administrator to do that. So let's try to fix this error, and let's open my project. So to fix this error, you'll need to go to your project. You'll find it in the side panel if you're using Jira Cloud. And here you can click on the 3 dots button and go to project settings. So again, you will need to be a project administrator to do that. Next, go to your work items and select screens and edit the default. In my case, the default screen scheme should work. Once you select the default screen scheme, you'll see the list of all the fields added. So I've already added time tracking. Time tracking includes the original estimate, the remaining estimate, and spent time. And I've also added story points field. And that's all we need for this tutorial. Once they are added to the screen, the error will not appear anymore. In the meantime, I also populated my structure with some data, but don't worry, I will walk you through all the steps because there are some interesting and exciting features that I'm sure you love during this part of the video. So let's use the basic view. Let's add the fields one more time. So I have the progress, and I'll be using the time tracking and story points. So let's make sure that these fields are added. Once again here, let's use the story points. Let's use the original estimate and time spent. So in case we log some work, time spent is also here, Jira fields, great. Alright, so far so good. Now, something that might not be that intuitive is that you can add the same field multiple times. So let's add the time tracking field and let's rename it to progress time tracking and edit this column and select percentages. Okay, so I see that one of my stories is already completed, so progress is 100%, and that's because I've applied the resolution, okay? So in the other field that I want to add, progress by time tracking, I will leave it as a progress bar. I will also need original estimate, so let's try to add an estimate here. Let's say it's gonna take us 3 days. Okay, now I am not able to log work directly from here, so I will need to open this task in a new tab, this story, I'm sorry, and let's log some work. Let's log, let's say 2 days of work. So how it works in Jira is that whenever I log work, the remaining estimate will be automatically reduced by the amount of the logged work. So I can see it on this progress bar, but I want to recreate it in my structure. So let's hit save, and if I go back to my structure, as you can see, I've already recreated it, right? So I have it shown on the progress bar, and I also have it shown in my percentage column. So 66% of work already done. So far so good. But can I do something else here? You might have observed that the percentages roll up here, but not in the case of fields that I've just added. So let's add another estimate here. Let's say 2 days. And what if I want to roll it up, right? I want to see the sum. So I can again click on the column, edit the column, and select the sum over sub items. I can exclude the duplicates. That's a great thing to have. Other than that, for this exercise, I only need to add it up. So altogether 2 plus 3 days, it equals to 1 week of work. That's great. Now we have the sum. We can do the same for the story points. And this is how the aggregations work. Very powerful feature. Very cool thing to have. If I now want to see how are my team members doing, let's say myself, all I need to do is select the filter here, right? So I have 2 story points, but the filter, as you can see, doesn't actually affect the roll-ups here. So to do that, I will need to do something else. Do you know what I need to do? You probably guessed. So I need to group by assignee. Let's group by assignee. And right now I see that Anna here has a total of 3 story points and 1 week and 1 day. I only have 1 task estimated using time tracking, so I have a total of 2 days, and I have 2 tasks estimated using story points, so I have a total of 6 story points assigned to me. So this already gives me plenty of information about what's going on within my project, within my structure, within my program, or even within my portfolio. Alright, so far so good. Let's see what else do we have here. So we can expand the levels of hierarchy. We can expand or collapse all the levels. We can switch between the different views and create our own views. So that's also great. And I think I did mention that. If not, text wrapping is something that I really like. This is something that I don't see often, though it works really great here. It gives you clarity when it comes to long descriptions, to the summary fields, so I really love this feature. You can also, as I mentioned, edit the properties of the views as well as revert the last change. Alright, so far so good. Now in this last section of the video, I'll talk about some pro tips. So here are some tips to level up fast and get the most of the structure up. First of all, apply filters and create new filters when necessary. Filters work using JQL, and instead of building a new structure every time, simply apply a quick filter to focus on a specific team, certain sprint, or just your assigned tasks. Next tip is to try formulas for calculated fields. I won't be discussing that in details. This is quite complicated. I will just open one of the, let's say, weighted shortest job first. So here is the formula, and as you can see, it might not be that easy to create your own. There are plenty of things that you need to do, and you need to actually code this formula. There are plenty of tutorials available. There's a lot of documentation. But still it's not that simple to do. But it's incredibly powerful, and what I personally like to do is to, for example, color code based on a specific value so that you have a visual indication about what's going on in your structure. And the last tip is to share your structure with your team, with your colleagues, as the real magic happens when everyone is on the same page. So share your structure with your team for better collaboration and transparency. Alright, so that's it for today. That's the complete beginner's guide to the structure app for Jira. I know it might seem a little basic, but trust me, mastering this one plugin will completely change the way you manage projects and collaborate in Jira. It will make you faster, more organized, and ultimately more productive. Now, while creating a simple structure is a great start, a proper implementation of an application like Structure should be done with care. If you don't want to worry about whether your setup is correct and if every user is getting what they need, you should use the services of experts on the topic. If you have any questions of building your own structures, drop them in the comments below or reach out to us. We offer free 1-hour consultations. You will find more info in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.